Hey, what's going on, everybody? So this is going to be the Destiny 2 Revenant Act 1 live stream. This comes out in literally a week. In 1 week and 7 minutes. 1 week, 7 minutes. But I did want to live stream this. So we're gonna watch this, but give me just a second. Nothing's gonna really change. Okay, cool. So this is my non-streaming you know, setup, and I just recorded a video prior to this, and I thought, what if I didn't turn my microphone on? Since it's working here, and I'm assuming you guys can hear me, I assume that it's working for that too. So now I'm just going to switch it back to stream mode. All right, cool. So now we're just going to sit here for the next, 6 minutes and wait for this to go live. If I need to, I might refresh it a couple times because the last time I did something like this, it started and I didn't know, so I missed the first couple minutes, and I don't wanna have to deal with that again. But my microphone is working, my streams are going good. I've got my cup of coffee, which is stupid hot. Let me yes, stupid hot. I'm going to let it cool down a little bit before I start drinking it. But today is the first day of Halloween. It is not October 1st. It is Halloween 1st. So guess what I have in what kind of coffee creamer I have, because I'm a basic bitch. I have pumpkin spice creamer. Say what you want. I don't care. Me and my Uggs and my leggings are going to have a good time this month. I don't own Uggs or leggings. Well, not that you guys know of. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't. Though if my girlfriend heard me saying this, she'd be like, "Nah, that's true. Sausage owns that," and I'd never be able to live it down. Never. Though I have heard that there are other UGG footwear besides, the traditional UGG boot. I have heard that they're comfortable, but I wouldn't know. I have no idea. And I'm going to sit here and continuing not to know as I drink my pumpkin spice creamer. Didn't I just look at the clock like 3 minutes ago? And it said it is 4 minutes. How's it been 3 minutes, but it's only been no minutes? Trying to, just keep the conversation flowing. For anyone who doesn't stream, keeping the conversation flowing, actually, it takes a little bit of work, believe it or not. Let's see if this is cooled down yet. Turn this off again so you guys don't hear me slurping coffee. Still too hot. I need to be patient. Just like how I need to be patient with with waiting for this to start. I don't think too many people are going to tune into the stream for two reasons. Well, for a handful of reasons, not just two reasons. One, it's about 1 p.m. where I am. There might be people over, across the pond in a different time zone. There's people on the other side of the country, of the other side of the U.S., who are there's 4 time zones? It's at least 3. Let's say it's 3. No, yeah, 3. So that's 10 a.m. for them. People are at work because it's Tuesday. And also, why watch my stream when they could watch a Bungie stream? Which, I need to get that set up. People are talking in my clan's Discord. Oh, I am a buffoon. This is Bungie. Is it Bungie or Destiny? Who do I need to watch? We're also going to pick up Destiny. Is there a Destiny? It might just be Bungie. Destiny 2? Nah, it's probably just Bungie. So that's fine. That's fine. We're going to full screen it. And we've got 2 minutes. If you're here, you're hanging out, you're actually watching my stream rather than, Bungie's stream, I appreciate you guys being here. I do. Like I said, I don't expect a lot of viewers, and that's fine, But people are going to be watching Bungie. They don't want to watch me watch Bungie, but I still wanted to do this nonetheless, especially because you can get an emblem from this. It's not going to be a rare emblem because there's going to be a lot of people watching this who will then get the emblem. But, it's free stuff. Why turn down free stuff? Plus, I don't have the rarest emblems in the game, but I have 3 of the most rare emblems. One is a skull with pyramid ships in the background, and you got that from a Halloween event, which I hope they address in this. I even this itself. Oh boy, here we go. Turn that headset up, boy. Turn the volume all the way up. I'm going to give this 1 minute, or at least once 1 o'clock hits, I'm going to refresh it because, like I said, the last time I watched a live stream, there was a technical issue on my end, I assume, because of my stupid internet, which I should be getting fixed. Never mind. Here we go.
Good day, good evening, good time zone to you all.
Good morning to you too. Thank you.
Coming to you live here from beautiful Bungie HQ in Bellevue, Washington. My name is Andy, and I work on the social media team here at Bungie, and today we're thrilled to get to welcome all of you into a very special stream, talking a little bit about what's to come with Act 1 of episode Revenant, launching just next week on October 8th, and also we're going to go ahead and take a little bit more of a look further down the road and talk a little bit more about Codename Frontiers. But worry not, just like always, you don't have to listen to just me tell you all about it. We have some amazing folks from the Bungie development team here to go ahead and talk through it as well, and I say there's no time like the present. Let's introduce our cast of characters.
Give me just a moment, everybody.
You may know, if you've tuned into our Into the Light streams in the past, the one and only Jerome Viernich, senior narrative designer.
Okay, my volume's all the way up.
It's great. I'm glad to be here. How are you? Doing well, thank you. And welcome back again. For the folks that may not have seen you on this show before or had a chance to go ahead and check out the Into the Light streams, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie?
Sure. I'm a writer on our fantastic writing team, so that means dialogue, tending to the garden that is our lore, and doing UI UX strings.
The fun stuff. So you're the blank space filler.
That's right. That's right. Press X. That's me.
Okay, I hold down E personally, but we can discuss that
That's
later.
not my department.
That's all right. We're here we're crossplay friendly. It's okay.
We all press E. If you don't
also
press
sitting just
E,
next to
what are
him,
you
someone
doing
who
with
is
your
joining
life?
us now in front of the camera,
Kidding,
previously a member
just
of
kidding.
our behind-the-scenes fire team who does so much of our heavy lifting, the one and only Clayton Kisko, staff designer here at Bungie. Clayton, welcome.
Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you. And hey, second verse, same as the first. Can you tell the folks at home a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie?
Yeah, so I'm a staff designer here, and I work primarily within the activities department. So I am in charge of building the skeleton and framework of the activity, developing the encounters.
I hope you guys aren't hearing me slurp coffee.
As well, and
if
building
if
that
you
amazing
do,
roller coaster.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I will try to
Thank
remember
you very much
to
for your hard
mute
work.
it next time.
Given that today's Tuesday and reset day, I have plenty to dive into. Thanks to you and yours. So thank you a ton, Clayton.
Yeah.
And sitting just next to him, someone that needs no introduction, but will still risk it anyway, just to make sure everyone's all caught up. The one and only the sandbox craft lead here at Bungie, the one and only Mr. Chris Proctor. Chris, how's it going?
Yeah, I needed an introduction. I don't know who that guy
anyone
is.
Who may not have seen you on the Into the Light streams in the past or heard you in podcasts around the community, can you tell us just a little bit about?
I mean, I watched the Into the Light live stream, but
Chris Proctor, sandbox craft lead on Destiny 2 here at Bungie. I work with the rest of the sandbox team and Destiny leadership, other teams, to make sure that we're always hitting that gameplay quality bar that Bungie is renowned for. I occasionally also make a few things for the game.
Yep, it's not an easy job, but we thank you all for doing it. And also, I want to note, chat's calling you out immediately. You're getting a lot of love already. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Now, we're going to go ahead and dive into episode Revenant, which again is launching just next week on October 8th. But before we go ahead and dive into that, Jerome, we're on the verge now in the last week of completing episode Echoes. Can you tell us a little bit about the story that got us to where we are now?
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's start with the death of the witness, who
that
we
guy.
thoroughly destroyed.
Absolutely.
And his giant, smoky, billowing head dissipated into a mist of darkness, which then coalesced with the traveler's light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Crystallizing into the Echo.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's
which,
exactly what it
fell
was.
into
Interesting.
the Soul System. One of those fell, of course, to Maya Sundaresh, which we know from episode 1.
Yeah.
And it fundamentally changed how the Vex saw themselves. And now we're going to get the same treatment with the Scorn, because one of the Echoes will be falling to Fikrul, leader of the undead Elixni army.
Yeah.
And
It's been a minute
similarly,
since
that
we've
Echo
seen
is going
him.
to prompt the Scorn to evolve, to see themselves in a new way, and to fundamentally change what they are. And I won't spoil anything. I'll let players discover that for themselves. But suffice it to say, Fikrul is evolving his army, he's growing his army, and in order to build Scorn armies, you need a bunch of corpses.
Interesting.
Which is not necessarily in the best interest of the Elixni. So we will be teaming up with Mithrax.
Speaking of Fikrul, we see him right here as well. Now we're taking a look at the new.
That
new
is a
art for
hard
episode,
image.
Revenant as well.
So
Fikrul's gotten a bit of a glow up, I think.
Absolutely.
to quote the kids.
This whole episode is metal, and
Yeah.
I think that shows it right
I
there.
like the
that
spider
really fits
webs.
The tone of the season.
It looks like the looks like those are
It's not messing around. I will
the
say, we
dread
watched
enemies
the
up
other
there
day,
who
but
look
folks
like
see the trailer,
bats.
you're right.
That's
Metal
cool.
is the right word to use.
So much slaying. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But the Elixni, of course, want to prevent this, and so we'll be teaming up with Mithrax, the Kell of House Light, and his daughter, Ido, the adorable
All
Ido.
right. Cool.
Must be
whom I love.
protected at all costs.
Absolutely.
Right, of course.
And she will be bringing her expertise in herbology and ancient Elixni lore to help us craft tonics.
That's
to
right.
imbue us with the power that we need to battle this.
Because
evolving
this whole
Scorn.
episode is going to be about
That
like
is,
monster
thank
hunting
you,
and
by the way,
vampire
for
slaying.
not only-
It's
now,
going to be
you
so
narrative
cool.
directed us into our segue as well, so thank you very much. Narrative design as well. And so I think we should go ahead and dive into a little bit of gameplay. Starting over here with you, Clayton. So we just heard a little bit about some new tonics and everything. Can you tell us a little bit about where we are and what we're going to be doing here? This is the new apothecary, I believe?
That's right. So we're in the apothecary space, and Jerome was just mentioning the tonics and potions that we'll be crafting. They come in 2 flavors. They come in combat flavors, and they come in reward flavors.
Okay.
The combat flavors are going to enhance, or rather boost your artifact perks, specific ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Higher rarities of these tonics will boost multiple artifact perks, which is
Interesting.
really great.
Okay.
Okay.
And then on the reward side, we wanted to create a new or novel way to chase your gear and your weapons that you love.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we took a lot of inspiration from the success of Into the Light, where players got to attune to specific weapons. And so with your reward tonics, you'll be able to attune to specific weapons within the season.
Interesting.
They're not craftable in this season, which is important to note, but you will be able to target them, and they'll have enhanced perks.
Got it. Okay. So you'll
No
be able to go ahead and chase
crafting.
down that god roll you're looking so
That's
desperately for,
controversial.
with the help of this. But also, for the build crafters out there, they're going to have even more to dive into than maybe just the episode artifact and everything. These are going to go ahead and help just boost a lot of those traits, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So build crafters, make sure your appetites are whetted and ready. There's going to be plenty of stuff for you to go ahead and dive into. But we're going to go ahead also and dive into some of the meat and potatoes of today's stream, proverbially speaking. As we're on our way over to Onslaught, Clayton, I just want to go ahead and also start there. Onslaught's getting kind of a new revamp this episode as well. You guys have left proverbially very
revamp
few, if
Onslaught?
any, stones untouched this time around.
Correct. Yeah. And so, we heard players' feedback. They wanted to see us invest in Onslaught. We are coming out with a brand new Onslaught called Onslaught Salvation.
Yeah.
We are going to have
Okay.
3 maps that you'll be
Interesting.
in there.
3?
We'll have some new defenses. We'll have enemy factions that will be fighting into the theme of this episode. We'll have the Scorn. We'll have the Dark Cabal.
That's right.
A bunch of other new stuff that we
The
can get
Dark
into.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll be
Cabal?
diving into that here briefly. You can see our
That's not
fire
what they're
team
called.
is
But
now
all
on
right,
their
whatever.
way.
I don't
We're
work
on the way
there.
over as well. I heard a brief mention of our friends in the Shadow Legion as well. Can you tell us what the Shadow Legion is doing here and why they might be in league with Fikrul, Jerome?
The Shadow Legion are bumming. They are in utter disarray. Their leader has
got
been slain,
stomped.
and they are grasping to
Get
anyone who can
wrecked.
keep them in power.
Yeah.
And Fickrel holds the most powerful artifact around now.
Got it.
So they will be doing his bidding, though it will be a tenuous alliance.
They're going with
Interesting.
Fickrel's Riz just for right now, but that may not be the case later on.
That's right.
Okay.
We will do our best to stomp that out.
Thank
Why
you.
did he
All right,
wink
very
at
nice.
us?
Much appreciated. All right, so now we are here. We're in Onslaught, and we're on Widow's Court.
Yeah.
And there's Aragorn?
Players will
Egregore? That's
recognize
what
this
it
map,
is.
and they'll also recognize some of the changes that we've done to accommodate for the slaying, the amounts of slaying that is necessary for an onslaught activity.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
A
so
quick refresher
cool.
For the folks at home that may not have dove into Onslaught recently or since Into the Light, there is the 10 level mode and the 50 level mode. Isn't that correct?
Right. So Onslaught Salvation will also be coming with the 3 modes that they've had in the past, which is the playlist.
That's not
10-wave
the-
mode,
that's not
normal
the
50-wave
exotic, is
mode,
it?
Cool.
And then we'll have
What?
the expert 50-wave mode.
What is
And
that?
the new thing about Onslaught Salvation,
An
one of the new things
operable
is
turret?
that,
Can you get
it
in
will
that
not be
turret?
powered fixed like it was prior in Into the Light. It will be
right.
Power enabled, so your armor and your weapons will matter even more.
Yeah.
It will be at the start.
Air
more difficult, but
strikes?
You can, through getting better, more power and grinding that artifact level, you'll be able to kind of outweigh that difficulty.
Yeah.
And you'll also be able to rely on some of the new defenses as
Yeah,
well.
I was going to say, we were just looking at a turret that maybe Guardians haven't seen since their days on the moon in D1. Can you
Yeah.
tell us, like, what's going on? We got some new defenses, obviously.
We have some new defenses. So Ashley Baker is one of the tech designers.
So I didn't play
She's in
D1
right
because
now,
I didn't
and she has
have an
helped us build
Xbox.
these
My brother
defenses,
did, I
As
didn't.
well as other things in Onslaught. She's worked with the Sandbox team who have knocked it out of the park with this rideable turret.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a standard
is
rideable
that?
turret at first. But
What is that?
on upgrade 3, it's going to have more health. It's
Oh,
going
it's
to
a
be doing more damage,
saboteur,
but
okay.
It's also going to have scorching rounds come out of it.
Okay.
And what the cool thing about that is
Yeah.
that if you have build crafting with fragments or what have
What
you,
is-
within
oh, it's a
scorching,
shoddy.
that will play off that if you're
Okay.
the rider.
Very nice.
Turret,
Okay.
yeah.
So you can go ahead and really scorch everyone. To
Everyone,
as much as
clumps of
possible.
enemies,
Yeah.
those annoying demolitionists that come in front of the ADU and scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, they do. That was my words. Okay, they do scare that.
Yeah.
All right. So in the subject or in the topic of new defenses, so we're bringing back the turret from yesterdecade of Destiny, but also there's some other ones available as well. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe some new defenses that are on the way?
Yes, so the other one that we have is the Airstrike,
Yes.
which will have 3 cannons when you purchase it, or upgrade it. They'll be replenished there. And what that allows you to do is essentially mark anywhere on the ground.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
when an
that's
enemy
cool.
or enemies run over it, a giant beam. It will come down from the sky
Yeah.
and obliterate your enemies.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep a little bit of the secret for higher upgrades. I want to
No, that's fair.
That is
Really
gnarly.
nice
Yeah,
upgrades.
Nimbus liked that.
Yo, what's going on,
Yeah,
Hulk?
yeah,
I forgot to turn on Mix It Up.
And
Otherwise,
actually,
oh, I'm
just to
sorry,
double check,
man.
well, with the airstrikes, it's
I
not
should have
just
had
you
it
play
Mix
it
It Up
fires. It
up
actually
for
has to
you.
wait for
My
someone
bad.
to trigger that. I
Waits
guess.
for someone to come over, yeah.
Very nice,
Much
okay.
like the Tripwire, which
Yeah.
we are also updating
Yeah.
for Onslaught Salvation.
Okay.
We've heard the feedback about the Tripwires, and
Oh, that's a
we
champion
wanna
right
bring their
there.
value up a little bit more. So now they're going to be exploding with stasis slow fields.
Oh,
And
okay.
at higher upgrades, they'll be
I
creating
like that.
stasis crystals for you to play off of if you have a stasis build.
Yeah.
Stasis
Oh,
weapons. And then I'm happy to
stasis
share
build?
that those updates
Say
will
less.
also be available in the original Onslaught as well.
Very nice. Okay, so all the updates that are happening to the defenses that are available in Onslaught Salvation will be available in the traditional Onslaught mode as well.
Just the Tripwires, yeah.
Very exciting. Okay, nice. Good to see.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of stasis and obviously looking at our tools for destruction, Chris, I'd be remiss if I didn't try and bring up the new breach loading grenade launcher that our fire team here is getting a lot of use out of. There's obviously a decent chunk of new weapons arriving with Revenant, but let's start here. This is the new seasonal, or pardon me, episodic exotic.
Yeah, this would be the Season Pass exotic.
Yeah.
It's the Alephamin
Okay.
Stasis primary ammo grenade launcher.
Yeah,
Oh.
So we've only had one primary ammo grenade launcher before, which is Fighting Lion,
fighting line.
which
That's
is
beloved.
getting a buff this season as well, actually. It'll
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
make enemies volatile when it hits them,
Yeah, so
that's
this is
serious
the new
impact
episode. They were doing seasons, but they switched to episodes post the Final Shape expansion, and this is the new episode that's dropping in a
Yeah.
week.
Hits pretty hard. But the exotic part of it is that as you defeat enemies, you will gather these remnants, which will fill up the exotic bar, which you can see in the hardware
Okay.
Blunt dead.
Yeah. It's the shade.
Yes.
Oh, they're in expert.
No, that's true. Yeah, we should note for the Guardians at home, this is an expert mode, so they're
it is
taking
a
the hard
tough
way,
activity.
obviously.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Hard
when
mode.
the bar reaches
Okay.
50%, you can special reload, and your next shot will launch a special ammo brick for you and your allies to pick up.
Very nice.
And when you reach 100, you can special reload and launch heavy ammo. So this lets you really go in on a new type of support role, which
Yeah.
is
Okay.
ammo support, which we haven't really seen in the game.
I like
I mean,
ammo
I think on my
support.
side,
I
spend
like
a lot of
that.
time getting like the Seeker and Finder mods on my helmet, but it seems like a nice additional way to go ahead and make sure that you're really feeding the fire, feeding the fuel, pardon me, of the heavy ammo version.
Oh, he's in the
Really
turret. That's
did the
so
microcosm
cool.
Recently, so
So potentially you could have one person in the fire team go all in on ammo generation, and
Yeah.
the other folks build
Very
something else.
also, so Clayton, when it comes to the other stuff that's arriving with Onslaught Salvation, are there any new things we're looking forward to? I know that we're obviously fighting the evolved Scorn, but are there any new bosses or anything people can look forward to?
Right. So the Fickrel Scorn are also going to be coming out with what we're calling the Revenant Baron.
Okay.
And that thing is scary, and you'll see it on wave 6 here in a second when the players are instructed to go into like a Revenant nest and go and
Yeah.
save the Elixni from being captured.
Yeah.
These Revenant Barons, they stalk the area, and when you kill them, they will create a Revenant totem which flies in a random direction,
Yeah.
leaving a trail so you can kind of like stalk it, find it.
Yeah.
You have to kill it before it would respawn the Revenant Baron.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's
That's
some,
so
there's some hide
cool.
and seek gameplay there. Yeah, and so we also have for the rewards side, starting on wave 30, set 3, players will have a small chance to get a fully masterwork double perked episodic weapon.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah, and on expert, like we're playing,
Yeah.
if you remember the bonus chest on harder difficulties, was short,
So
if you're not playing expert, you have two
the
chances.
primary
Okay,
weapons,
all right. So really make sure you're
they
pushing through those
have
final levels, trying to
unlimited
fence
ammo.
the
There's
levels that you can
primary,
really
special,
filtrate
and
through
heavy.
the
Special
grind
is
as much as you can.
green,
100%.
heavy is purple,
Something we mentioned recently in one of our Dev Insight logs as well.
and
are
so
Banes,
primary has
which are
unlimited
gonna be
ammo.
making an appearance here in Onslaught. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so we'll be with the expert mode only. We'll be having Banes throughout the activity, and we'll also be adding mods. So it's really nice to have them show up because they add another layer of replayability into expert. You don't know if you're going to get the gaseous one where you got a dot on you, or if you have to break line of sight, but it adds a fun variability within the gameplay, so every wave feels different.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have. Oh, please.
I just wanted to point out
Yeah,
here,
please.
you'll notice two things. First off, the fire team is tracking that Revenant Baron, just like you said.
Yeah.
And also freeing captured Elixni. And as to why people want to keep Elixni captives alive, I'll save that for the players to discover.
Sounds devious.
The other thing is that you'll see Crow chiming in a lot. He's featured prominently in the season.
Right, yeah.
Crow's annoying.
Because he is inadvertently, of course, responsible for creating Fickrel, and so it's his responsibility as the new Hunter Vanguard
That's true.
to rectify his old problem.
Get to work,
Interesting. You
Crow.
know, you can't be like, hey man, that was Ultron. That wasn't me. He's gonna step up and take responsibility for that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Old Fickrel's fickle out there.
Freaking Crow. I
Even
can't
to
stand
that same
Crow.
end too, we're gonna be hanging out with Crow, with Ido, and with Mithrax. Obviously, the main kind of part of the story. They're gonna be the ones that we're gonna be hanging out with the most, you'd say, or?
There will be some other Elixni, some venerable old school Elixni that poke their heads in that you'll see some drama with. I won't say any more than that.
Fair.
But it will be in everyone's interest to see Fickrel go down here.
Okay, got it.
Who
A little bit
might
enemy
that
my
be?
enemy. In this case, they're all our enemy.
That's right.
Fair enough.
Would it be
Actually,
Varix?
really quickly, Clayton, I know we kind of
Could it be
touched on
what's
several
her
different subjects here between the different
face
defenses,
who-
different enemies, the different kind of structural
was
opportunities
her name?
that Onslaught Salvation has provided you.
I don't
Like,
remember.
sitting down with the team and sort of looking at this new refresh on this activity. Like, did you guys take any big challenges for yourself where like we want to do this?
Yeah, we knew we just wanted to build and evolve and just do more.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It's a metal episode. We want to do Onslaught. Let's metal it up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So things like the turret, things like the Revenant Baron, we really want to play into the themes of this kind of haunting, spooky episode.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that in the roll art. You're seeing that in the different defenses and the mechanics that we're bringing in
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention too is we are updating the moth yards from the original Onslaught.
Okay. Oh,
really?
We've heard feedback from there. If it's taking a little bit longer, we want to bring that. Our goal is to bring that in line with the rest of the maps of the original Onslaught. So we're making some updates there to get.
Okay,
that.
they're updating
For
moth
reasons
yards.
obviously
I
to
liked
dive
moth
into
yards.
All versions of Onslaught as we go ahead and move into.
I might be, you
Very
know, in the
excited.
minority there, but
Actually,
I liked
while
moth
we're
yards.
out here, you know, slaying out as best as we can against this new undead army. Chris, we're going to have obviously a slew of new episodic weapons arriving this time.
Yeah.
I know we've kind of spoken about this this breach loading grenade launcher. Are there any other notable ones that you're most interested in, or most excited rather, I should say, in bringing back?
Yeah, there are a few weapons that I'm going to personally be chasing rolls on. I'm particularly fond of the new double fire stasis grenade launcher.
Yes.
Only the third double fire in the game, and the other two are energy slot.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to run this in your kinetic slot. It's got the new perk Envious Arsenal, which is like directly targeted at damage rotations. So whenever you do damage with the other two weapons, the weapon reloads.
Yeah.
So you can just cycle between your weapons, get it back. And it also has chill clip, which on a double fire is particularly cool.
That's
It's
like devious,
hit twice
honestly.
or 4 times.
Yeah.
There's also some cool synergies with the new perks on some of the other weapons. So the hand cannon can run the new perk Rhyme Stealer, which every time you shatter a stasis crystal or a frozen enemy will grant you frost armor, which is the new verb we introduced recently.
Right.
And that can also roll with Headstone, which will generate stasis crystals.
Yeah.
So you've got this like self-contained loop there.
Yeah.
Submachine gun is an arc precision, and that's got the new perk. Shoot, what is the name of that?
My memory's failing me.
Anyway, it directly ties back into Jolt, right? Like the
Right. Thank you.
Vault Shot is great, but it requires a reload on your weapon after a kill.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one's triggered on sustained damage. So
Oh,
Jolt the
I like
target,
that.
And then the perk I'm going for in the other column is Loose Change, which every time you apply a debuff, gives you a reload speed buff. So you'll be constantly.
I like Volt Shot, but it does require you to
Also, so we're gonna
reload
look at
and
the
then
new
hit your
artifact
next
here in a little
shot.
bit once we go ahead and move
I
through this
personally
final
don't
wave.
like that,
I wasn't doing this
but,
right now, but
you know,
there's
it is
also,
what it is.
you know,
So
it's
I'm
been
excited
featured
to
a
see
little
what this new
bit in some
perk
art about
is.
Destiny's 10th anniversary, an exotic of yester year, we'd say, with for all the Guardians who have been sticking around for a while.
Icebreaker.
Icebreaker is returning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Icebreaker is coming
Which
back.
I
So
plan
we've
on
been
live streaming
holding off
that
on doing this
dungeon
because the,
Friday,
economy issues that
the
have been facing
11th
Destiny
at
1 are
4
pretty
p.m.
bad.
Eastern.
But we've got a version
So I can get that gun. So stay
I
tuned.
think lets you get back into that fantasy of just like
Only on
always
Twitch,
having
though.
Time on the weapon.
Yeah.
Without
Just 'cause
letting
I
you
have
just
something
hang back
premiering on
and,
YouTube that day.
like,
The day
pull
before.
enemies From range, which
Yeah.
you never like. So
Yeah.
the way it works is assists and final blows with other weapons will just generate ammo for Icebreaker.
Got it,
And it's
okay.
got like a 10-round magazine,
Oh.
which is also the same size as reserves.
Yeah.
So the play is that in between boss damage phases or something, you and your team slay out, and as long as you're getting assists or kills, you'll come back in fully loaded.
Got it.
So you don't even
And,
need
Destiny 1,
a heavy
actually
ammo
ice to
finder.
break,
That
right?
is
So
wild.
This time we actually have a bunch of ice that you can break. I won't
I'm
go
gonna
into
try
details
that
for
on
a little
Oryx.
time,
Fair enough.
but
Okay.
ties deeply into
Yeah,
that.
this stasis episode will certainly be giving people a lot of reasons.
If
to
any clanmates are hearing this,
no, that's
I wanna
very
try
exciting to
Icebreaker
check
on
out.
Oryx.
Now, while we're still here, let's go ahead and check out the new artifact that's going to be arriving. We love getting a chance to show
Lots
all
of
you folks
grenade
this early,
launch.
so you
I
can go
see
ahead and start
3
your
grenade
build
launcher
crafting.
things on there.
But
Okay.
Chris, you know, I know obviously
4.
last time around, if I had to kind of paint it with a meta, I'd say rather it'd be very focused on sniper rifles, solar. If there was a similar theme for this particular artifact, what would it be?
Stasis and grenade
So it goes
launcher.
very hard into stasis.
Yeah.
Like touches all of the stasis verbs. If you want to make a stasis build,
Stasis is
you
so
can find a bunch of
underrated.
ways.
I do love
We're
stasis.
also adding a bunch of grenade launcher perks.
Yeah.
So we've got. Overload
I mean, it
grenade
makes
launchers, which is
sense
great,
because
like
of the
having
exotic
those,
being
like
a
super
grenade launcher,
deadly
a stasis
overload
grenade
champions.
launcher,
Yeah.
but
Also bringing back.
I don't care about
variant
grenade
of,
launchers that
like
much.
Everyone's favorite grenade launcher artifact perk, Breach and Clear.
Oh yes,
So you can weaken enemies. and
But
then when you boost it,
this
you can get
grenade
the
launcher
second
with
part of
a
that
God Roll Edge
as
Transit,
we were saying earlier, you can boost
don't know.
artifact perks with the potion system.
That's right. Yeah.
and what
I
if you
also
got
will admit
like
I'm very
a
selfishly excited to
what
see
if you got a
anti-barrier
special
scout back.
ammo?
It's been so
Oh,
long. I've
that
missed it.
that
I'm
could
gonna pretend like
be.
that's just for me.
I don't know. We'll have to wait
Today.
and see.
We're trying something a bit different.
It's probably not a good idea to run
the
3
first column is
grenade
all,
launchers, but
anti-champion mods, and the final column
with
is all
the
pinnacle
exotic
ones, like
being
the
a
capstones for
primary,
your artifact build.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It could
Columns
be.
2, 3, and 4 are roughly equivalent in power, which will let you mix and match them more freely instead of feeling like you have to like go for the top tier ones. They're all
Right.
usable
Yeah.
in build.
It's less of a linear escalation, more of just a mix and match in a lot of ways. Very exciting. Okay. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for players to go ahead and amplify their builds, go ahead and really lean into one play style. If, again, you're like me and want to run double grenade launchers, this feels like a remarkably great season to be doing that, especially with the Fighting Lion buff. Thank you for sharing that with us. But I believe that actually wraps us up for this particular segment of Onslaught. But there's also a couple more things that I wanted to go ahead and tease for the arrival of Act 1. For starters, an old favorite strike is going to be making its return. The inverted spire is returning. But Clayton, it's not coming back exactly as people remember it, is it?
Nope. We're taking an approach and adjusting all the encounters. And you'll see more Vex than what you're used to.
True. I can confirm. My compatriot on the social media team, Mitch, showed me through it a little bit.
Okay.
The only thing I'll spoil is if you like death lasers, you're going to have a great time.
Can you show a little bit?
And then in addition to that, there's one more thing we wanted to add in. Arriving with Act 2, mind you, of Revenant, and I'm going to read this to make sure I get it right, inspired from a fan favorite activity from Destiny's past. We're going to go ahead and bring back an activity, but we're not going to tell you anything outside of that. So chat, speculate, let us know what you think. Go ahead and shout us out.
I really hope it's the Haunted Forest.
With that, I think we're going and ready to get ready, for the next segment. But in the meantime, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time to join us and share a little bit of what's arriving with Revenant. We appreciate your time so much today.
It's 3 or 4 weeks.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
I mean, it takes a lot to make me look good, so thank you guys for stepping up here and helping out.
I don't know.
Appreciate it. Now, as we transition
2 new
into our next
skimmers?
stage, we've got what we've called.
Also,
in my notes,
why is the quality
cool
so
stuff
bad?
segment. And
Bro,
I
are
think
you
it's up to
playing
that.
this
So we'll
on
go ahead and
like
show you
a
little bit
PlayStation 2?
More of what's to be arriving with Revenant, including what you're seeing here on your screen right now. This is the second earnable skimmer that's going to be arriving in Destiny 2. The aptly named, we'll wait for it to highlight, the Zerfboard. I was so glad that that was the name that stuck. As you can see, it features some very unique 9 styling, inspired by Xur himself. Both top and bottom are very arted up.
Does that mean the dungeon is going to be 9 related?
Or backflip if you're capable of it. You can go ahead and see all sides of it.
I don't know.
Notably, this is going to be earnable. So if you go ahead and start saving up those strange coins now, it's going to cost you 97 of them. So if you're like,
I had that this past weekend.
Spending all those extra strange coins at Xur to go ahead and get more rolls on your exotic class item, maybe save up for a week or 2. Also,
the skimmer I have now is probably going to be more rare than this one. So,
but the Zerfboard will be available with the arrival of Revenant. So make sure and go ahead and grab the first earnable skimmer since the Guardian Games.
Cool.
In addition to that, we obviously have mentioned very recently that we're going to be having a new dungeon arriving. With Revenant.
Vesper's
and
host.
As a part of this, we're going to be doing a dungeon.
That's what I'm going to be live streaming October 11th, 4 p.m. Eastern on Twitch only.
Sign up link out there. It's available on our social media channels or in the TWID, or if you prefer your URL's phonetic, it's bung.ie/Twitch Rivals. You can go ahead and head out there, sign up with your fire team, and make sure that you're ready to go.
If you're watching this on my YouTube, I do have a Twitch channel, by the way.
Also provide some additional
Sausage Mahoney, same logo.
If
I don't have it in my,
we've got a look at the hoodie that will be earnable along with the bracelet.
If I don't have a Twitch link anywhere on my YouTube channel, you can just look up Sausage Mahoney. Same logo.
Top 3 teams to go ahead and cross that proverbial finish line, then we'll be able to ship out a special embroidered version with your gamer tag on it as well. So make sure and go ahead and dive on in and prepare to try and cross that finish line first.
Did I just get that or no?
We're also going to take one quick look. Festival of the Lost is going to be arriving with Act 1 of Revenant as well. And if you all remember, you took a chance to vote on some armor sets for yourselves.
Those look so cool. So that's the Hunter set.
You can see here we've got the Evil Wizard set. I myself am very looking forward to adding this to my collection. The Evil Gothic set is just going to only dial up more and more.
That's so cool.
Up next, our Friendly Neighborhood Warlocks. You've got.
They should have got the good Wizard set, but I'm not going to complain.
We've all ever seen.
Not going to complain
over here at Bungie. And breaking out from the crowd, the good wizards this time around. Titans,
that goes so hard.
This way, you're going to have the chance to go ahead and add this into your arsenal as well. So,
bro, I can't wait to just like hit like a thrall with a powered melee wearing my wizard hat.
Doing that, so maybe I'm just projecting. But either way, make sure and get ready to go ahead and update your fashion where you can. But now we get to move on to our second segment of the show, where we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about what's further on down the road. So we've talked about what's just around the corner. Let's look forward to Frontiers. And here to help me discuss those topics today, that topic today as well, rather, are these 2 fine individuals.
That was a
left,
quick,
met at some point or
like
another,
they stood up and ran. That was quick.
In the crowd. We'll start with you first, Allison. Allison, how's it going?
It's going so good. I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
We're up so early. I'm doing well, thank you so much.
Good.
Allison,
yeah, they probably are are on
Director
the
here on Destiny at
on the
Bungie.
West Coast.
Can
Yeah,
you
West
tell
Coast,
anyone who
aren't
may
they?
not have seen you in a Vidoc or one of our past streams a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I'm the narrative
10 a.m.
director,
is
for D2.
like
it
early,
is me and my team's job to
what time do they
tell
go to
stories.
bed, man?
It's our job to
I'm
take
up at
care
like
of
5.
our characters, of our arcs.
In fact, I was
we
up at
make you
3 this
laugh,
morning
we
'cause I
make you
couldn't
cry,
freaking sleep.
We make you have feelings that you normally don't have to have in your usual day-to-day life.
I was raised not to feel feelings, so it's a very upsetting experience when I do.
Feelings are distressing.
Oh, no.
I understand. We also
Can
get
we
to
take
plan,
a can we
future
take a
things,
minute?
planning ahead for the arcs.
That's
to
not
come.
healthy,
And the
man.
saga to
Talking
come.
about, I know the whole.
I know he's
we'll have a little
joking,
bit
but
tonight,
like,
who's
let's
gonna
be real,
say-
people.
I know, I'm so excited.
Not healthy.
And then also sitting next to her, Robbie Stevens, assistant game director here at Bungie, a man that I've not had a chance to interview, but since back in my Mixer days. But if you've tuned into these Bungie streams in the past, you've seen him as well. Robbie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Andy. And I think you've grown a lot since those days.
Thank you. It's been so long, right?
Yeah.
My badge changed and everything. For the folks that may not know you or may not know what a game director does, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so one of the main things I do as assistant game director for Destiny 2 is I work on the creative direction and vision for where we're going with Destiny coming up in the future with Codename Frontiers. So I get to work with our game director, Tyson Green, and Allison Lurs, our narrative director, and a bunch of our other creative leaders on how we shape the future of Destiny to come.
Very exciting, which we are going to be diving into now. I know we've obviously released some blogs about the Codename Frontier stuff already. If you've been out on Bungie.net reading the Dev Insight blogs, there's been a good amount to dive into. But our friends over on the community team as well have been helping us kind of, read more into what the audience feedback has been and what the players are saying. And so we've had obviously some topics come up that I think we should just go ahead and dive on into.
Let's party.
Absolutely. Okay, that's the right attitude. Let's party at this early in the morning.
Hell yeah.
Always the answer I want to hear. So Robbie, we'll go ahead and start with you. One of the things we said is that these expansions are going to be medium-sized. Can you help us understand a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, definitely. So expansions are changing going forward with Codename Frontiers. And so our philosophy behind this is moving from one really big, all-consuming tentpole moment that kind of takes all the oxygen in the room at one point in the year to 2 what we consider big tentpole moments happening in each year. And so those tentpole moments coming twice a year now are going to bring with them fresh content and new stories that are going to move the world of Destiny forward. And to answer your question directly, the way we're kind of looking at the size of these is similar to like Rise of Iron from Destiny 1. But this is happening like twice a year as compared to the past.
Yeah.
And so, what's kind of the reason we're talking about this, the rough shape of the box here that we're filling is that what comes with it is like each expansion is going to have its own unique version of a campaign and post-game experience that you can dive really deep into beyond the initial playthrough, similar to how things like the Dreaming City or the Pale Heart from the Final Shape had worked, where those beyond those initial campaign experiences, there's like further things to explore and secrets to uncover. And so making our expansions unique and deeply replayable is a big goal for us, in large part to support all the new gear and the new tiering of gear that we're putting into the game, right? And so it's one about, each of these expansions, again, they're going to tell a really compelling story as part of our next saga, but I really want to stress that they're also going to be unique experiences, unique campaigns and post games.
Yeah, I know that's something like, I've kind of overheard some of the conversations where when it comes to these expansions as well, obviously the corollary we're using today is Rise of Iron, but like these are going to be brand new experiences, things that we just like haven't released before in the past.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that as well? Or
Yeah, definitely. And so for Codename Apollo specifically, the first expansion coming up with Frontiers, you're going to journey to a Metroidvania-inspired destination.
I don't know what that means.
That's our guiding light for how we're creating this new location.
A Metroidvania?
So
what does that even mean?
Destination is going to feature a nonlinear campaign that puts you, in the driver's seat of exploring its world and its story. So this is very different from the past, where you're kind of following a very linear mission structure or line. That's very simple in many ways. And Allison actually recently talked a bunch about this in the blog post.
Yeah. So when we made the decision
what
to
does a
lean into that
Metroidvania
structure, we
what
knew
does that
that
mean?
the narrative structure had to match, like had to complement that structure as well.
Okay.
And so the way that we're going to treat nonlinearity in Codename Apollo is when you arrive at our destination, which is a new destination, you'll be able to decide if you want to go to region D or region C, or maybe you want to go check out B, because that's going to be where you get the ability that allows you to access region A so you can talk to that character that you really like. We really want that sense.
What does new region mean? New planet? New solar system? New dimension?
Explore and discover
what does it mean?
Secrets that we have in the world. And whichever of those different choices that you make doesn't negate the others. We want you to explore every crevice inside of the experience. And to help support that, we've structured our story in a complementary way. So we'll have the normal kinds of like activity dialogue that you normally experience in a campaign, but there's also between 25 and 30 different threads of stories that you can discover and chain together after you complete an activity.
That's a lot.
There's so much richness to discover that we're creating.
You see that little thread of that shining rock somewhere, you can really just afford to pull on it and just dive in by the sound
Absolutely, that's what we want you to do.
Okay, that's
so
awesome.
cool.
So actually, let's go ahead and stay on the topic of story here for just a second as well. You know, I think that there's been some conversations about the future of narrative Destiny, which has obviously been so central to the experience, so core to our characters and our stories. There's been some concern that maybe the new structure might not afford the opportunity for as much story in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys are planning and what that means?
That would be news to me if it suddenly vanished. I like what
Allison,
I do.
please stay.
Please don't let exactly.
Is this how we find out?
No, story is destiny. Like what makes destiny destiny is that beating heart of story at its core. That's not going anywhere.
Hey, what's going on, Frisbee?
This new structure allows us comes in two parts for story. Like part one is pacing. With these 2 tentpole beats a year, the feeling that the world is changing and growing and moving is going to come much quicker now.
That's true.
Which means that we can move the plot along at a much quicker pace than we
I
used
like
to.
that.
Part
That's
two
a
is
good
focus.
point.
Because these are much more focused releases, we don't have to worry about padding the sides with a bunch of extra stuff to kind of fill in the space.
Right.
Nope,
Rather
we are
than one
zeroing
big
in on
expansion
exactly
with
what
4
each of these
seasons,
releases is trying to
it's
communicate.
2
And so that means we're
medium-sized
going to tell a
expansions
more
with
focused story
2
and
seasons
with
each.
pacing
I
keeps
like
up with
that.
what fans want.
Yeah, I mean, it's also too. It's interesting because obviously the narrative is one big part, the story you're telling, the words on the page, but another part of it, given that we have
this
the
is
opportunity with
Destiny
the medium
2.
like video games, is how players interact with it. We've seen some comments online and some notable conversations.
So the
about,
final shape, the last
go
big
talk to
expansion
Vendor
that
X,
came
head
out,
over to
which
the holodeck and say hello to this other person. Go back to
saved the
Vendor X,
game
you shake their
essentially.
hand one more time.
We are
Tell us a
on
little bit about that
episodes right
structure, what
now,
you guys are planning on.
just
it
while they
drives us
kind of
bonkers, too.
sort their stuff out. And so
No,
they're talking
we
about
believe that everything should be
the next
questioned, right?
episode,
Like, we
and
should be
right
questioning
now
that
they're talking
structure.
about
We
the
should be
future of
investigating
Destiny,
it. And
which will be
starting
happening
with
in
Revenant, and especially when we
6
get to
months,
Apollo,
maybe?
we're going to be deliberately shaking it up. By the time we get to Apollo, that loop, that pattern is more or less gone. We're shaking things up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Allison spoke to it earlier, but all those threads that you're pulling on, right? Like these are characters out in the world that you're exploring and discovering, right, as part of your journey here. And so it's not you going to the same location where you expect to see someone delivering a piece of information to you between, specific missions. It is like you exploring the world, finding these people, pulling on all these different threads in order to discover things within this weird.
Right now might be the
The
best time to
feedback is
get
loud
into
and
Destiny.
clear.
If
We
you're
want to
interested,
get
this is
keep the
probably the
player
best
out
time.
in the world,
And I can
out
help
and
guide you.
exploring
Like if
and get
anyone's
information
interested
to them.
in playing, I can help guide you. But
And also,
right
I
now
will
is
say,
probably
Allison,
the
you
best
didn't arrive
time.
empty-handed. You've got some cool concept art to share with us as
I've
well.
got some goodies.
Okay.
Ooh, concept art.
Thank you.
Who doesn't love concept art?
Happy birthday,
your
everyone
birthday.
who's born on
Looking at
October 1st.
concept art is always a joy.
Exactly.
It's a good way to go about it. It's better than wrapping paper covering a PlayStation. I don't know.
Hey, Foxy
Let's
Mage,
go and
thanks
take
for
a look.
being
So
here.
This is we've got up on screen kind
is
of one of
that?
our first pieces of concept art from the future. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
No,
So those look
I
like
can't.
thrusters.
On purpose.
know,
What
like
I can
rocket
tell you
thrusters.
is that this is some concept art of our new destination, which, like I said, is a new place that we haven't been to before.
Yeah.
Which means that these people that you're seeing are people that we haven't met yet. We're going to learn a lot more about them, and I love this piece because the longer that you look at it, same with some of the other art that we've shared so far, the more you start to see things that are kind of familiar all the way out at this
I might
new
be
location.
interested. I've played it
So,
before.
lots of
It's
fun things to
fun.
discuss.
I've
What's the
just
symbol
never
on
had the
that
time
banner?
to
Is this
sink
a
into the
seance
beast.
or a
It
wedding
felt like
ceremony? Who knows?
I
Yeah,
know,
no,
and I'm not telling.
it can be a time
soul.
sink.
Okay, all right.
That
fun
is
to
a
dive into,
fair
including
assessment.
We've got another piece of concept art is here as well.
Yeah, something we talk about a lot in like I think
Oh,
the
I have
last
no
concept
idea.
release really like spoke to it is like especially when we're developing a new destination like this, like we really think about like what is a storied history that's happened here? What's something that players can like really sink their teeth into and dig deep into? And you know, going into this concept, something that I love about it that's really resonant with me with a lot of the early creative discussions we had on it is that we wanted this place to feel like an exotic world that is just tailor-built around the joy of discovery, right? And then so within this new destination in Apollo, you're going to be discovering powerful abilities in order to uncover secrets in this location and in order to carve a path to the great mystery at the heart of the planet. And that's what like these concepts, you know, when I look at them in retrospective as the team is now actively like building a bunch of this stuff. It's very evocative for me from that feeling of like, hey, how can, it's something Tyson and Alice and I talk a lot about is like, how can we get that like grand mystery in that game, that feeling that there's something right around the corner, that like it's kind of at the heart, has been at the heart of Destiny for a long time. And as we've been closing down the Light Dark saga, it's been an amazing roller coaster ride, but we want to expand and grow Destiny and we want to change it. And you know, that's what I think these concepts are starting to speak for us, trying to show not just us telling of like, some of that direction.
I mean, it's exciting to see because I think one thing I've heard you guys talk about a lot as well is, you know, just the inspirations that you want to obviously provide the players. You build these new worlds, but you guys have been diving into a lot of crazy subject matter just on your own to get inspired as well. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of some of the fun reading or listening you've been doing as you've been going?
Oh, I'm curious now,
One of the
actually.
fun parts about being a creative is that you have to fill the tank with something. And so that means doing a lot of research, finding a lot of other targets in media, or even just like what music you're listening to while you're working on a script, right? I know for our team, something that really inspired us was music of the 1960s. We listened to a lot of early prog, a lot of
like psychedelic rock,
and a lot of oh gosh, The Doors and Jefferson Airplane. We also there's a lot of Slaughterhouse 5 inside of this.
Cheery.
We love to look for inspiration outside of just games because there's so much in the world that can fill that tank.
Is this a live video?
Yeah,
pretty much. Pretty much.
Oh yeah. I mean, TV and movies is like I talk about all the line. I mean, Allison as the narrative director, much better at referencing text. I'm a little bit more of a visual guy.
Is that the nice way to say that? Okay, cool. All right,
social media and TikTok have rotted us all.
I was a lot more reactive to the beginning of this video, not so much of this part. But we're going to see what else they have to show us.
We talked a bunch about was for Apollo was Scavenger's Reign. That's something that Allison, remember an early concept, and we were talking about, and we're like, oh wow, that media, that TV show is so great because like
it's a show,
it's familiar in some
Reign.
ways, but as you get closer and you really look at their world, it's really strange and different and weird and mysterious, and it really kind of just builds this halo of allure around it that is something that really spoke to us when we're thinking about like how can we introduce something new to the game at the top of Frontiers.
That's exciting. All right, so there's obviously a lot of new inspirations. We had a chance to look at some concept art, but Allison, I got to put you on the spot just one last time. Do you have any other teasers for us or anything you can give us before we move on to the next subject?
I got a weird one.
Okay, even better.
Okay. So imagine going to a mansion, like a really nice, really big fancy house.
My first thought was like Luigi's Mansion.
No, like a nice one. So you're going in and looking at
and I'm a virus infecting all of your chats.
Maybe the owner of the house tells you there's a secret
I appreciate it. Thank you, Foxy.
Here. And you're looking around and you can see the door that you came through and you can see the window, but it kind of looks like a dead end, like there's nothing in here. And everyone knows that a good secret door comes from like behind a bookcase. Like you go up to a bookcase and pull on a book or a little statue that's been in front of your face the whole time, but you just haven't had the focus on it yet. And if you pull on that, it opens up the secret door, and suddenly what was a dead end looks like an entryway. And that's what this saga is.
Okay, that's very exciting. And it will
Interesting.
be like Young Frankenstein where I get stuck in the door.
You will not get stuck in the door. No, I will not let anyone get stuck
even for
inside the
comedic
door.
Or Matthew McConaughey behind the bookcase. Murph.
Okay, all right. Thank you again, Allison, so much. There's obviously a lot of cool stuff to dive into, but we'll let you and yours keep crafting. But we've got also one more subject as well. Robbie, I'd love to bug you about one more thing.
Better not be PvP. I don't
so
care
we've seen
about
some
PvP.
feedback on reward tiers and how there might not be enough variation in loot for players to go ahead and get encouraged to go ahead and keep chasing down more gear. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're all building?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, so this is like very valid feedback, just acknowledging that in the first place, because the first thing we announced was just like, hey, there's some new tiers, right? And then obviously, you're going to look at that and go like, well, I have a bunch of amazing armor and weapons now, so like, why does this matter in the future? And so totally, yeah, that feedback makes a lot of sense to us. And so what's really top of mind and has been for us for a little while now is how we can make not only chasing gear within individual tiers interesting and the whole system interesting, but also how we can make those higher tiers of gear compelling to chase.
Yeah,
right? To have that
that's right.
time.
Yep.
And so that comes in two forms that I can talk a little bit about today. One, I can go a little more in depth on, which is our next generation armor.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming with Codename Frontiers.
Okay.
And then we have some really early thinking for weapons.
Okay.
And so for armor, yeah, let's start there.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that okay, Andy?
That's perfect.
Yeah,
If you wouldn't mind, Robbie.
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
Happy
thank
to.
you.
So yeah, let me lean in here to focus a little bit. So for next generation armor, we really want to make armor valuable again. We want to make it easier to understand, and we really want it to have create new build crafting identities.
Yeah.
That's something that's like
Artifice
really
armor.
close to
I
home
love
for us
Artifice
right now, because
armor.
we've had a similar system for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And so part of making it valuable, easy to understand, new identities is going to, one of the big pieces is going to be a large stat rework to the armor pieces themselves. And so
We better be
there's
taking
gonna
away
be
mobility.
fewer stats on each individual piece of armor. So it makes it way easier to quickly compare pieces of gear and be
What do
like,
you
oh,
mean?
this one's better than that one. I'm building into a specific, discipline, strength, whatever.
Sure.
And you can better
Okay.
understand that. That also means that there's going to be fewer things we call dump stats.
Sure.
Like you looking at a piece of gear and going like, oh man, it only gives me +5 resilience. I don't really want that.
Trash it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And like there's still going to be cases where it's like, oh, it has a lot of resilience, but that's not what I'm building into. But it's just going to be way easier to just glance at stuff.
Very cool.
Okay.
And figure it out. But beyond that, right? Like, how can we answer that question of how can next gen armor have this new build crafting identity?
Yeah.
It also we want to bring new things to the table.
Yeah.
Right. And so part of the stat rework, we're going to go beyond 100, Andy.
We go beyond.
Beyond
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
We've gone
light.
beyond light.
That's right.
Yep. Beyond dark with prismatic.
What
This
else
just makes
is there?
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're going to go beyond 100 with armor. Who knew? Who knew that's where we go?
That was just hidden in the
So
logo
100 is
somewhere,
max.
right?
You
That
can
was
go
in-
above 100, but it doesn't mean
Oh,
anything.
no one double check that.
Yeah,
but beyond 100.
don't check our homework. Yeah. So when we go, so what I mean by going beyond 100. So let's talk about strength.
Dude's got a
Since
booger in
this is
his
some early
beard.
thinking from the team.
Yeah.
So in the 1 to 100 range, it would still reduce
got a
your
booger in his
melee
beard.
cooldown like it does today. It would still
His little
have that,
mustache.
so that would still be really easy to understand. But then from that 101 to 200 range, beyond 100, every point into strength at that point would then give you a chance in order to activate a second melee when power melee becomes charged. So basically, you get double melee. You get to double throw your shields, or double throw your knives, or throw whatever warlock space magic stuff they throw.
Yeah,
in.
no.
I don't play warlocks.
I'm a hunter.
Yeah,
I get
so-
it. Yeah.
I can't jump. Sorry.
Withering blades.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
But really, like the key thing to there, right, is like that starts to create an identity for what you want to build craft into. That's very different than just like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm building in melee, lower cooldown. That's cool. But now you can start build crafting into like, okay, I'm going to regularly, especially at the higher end, start to get double melee charges, right? And so the other thing we're considering right now is also renaming that stat from strength to melee, so that it's just very specific.
That
when you
makes
look at the
sense.
gear and kind of like know what it's
cut right to that chase, right?
Yeah. Another big thing that's coming with next generation armor to the game is set bonuses. And so this is something, I know, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like, they're back.
So ready.
Yeah, we've done like some small versions of it in the past, have been like individual releases, but we're looking at this as like a holistic new system that's coming with pretty much every piece of new legendary armor set that we create, starting with Frontiers.
Okay.
And so these set bonuses are going to come in the form of wearing 2 or 4 pieces of a 5-piece set. So that gives you flexibility in order to wear an exotic at any point, and then also allows you to mix and match different sets. So you can actually start looking at like gear and go like, oh, I have tier 1, tier 2 of one set, tier 3 of other, and I actually want to like mix match them together for different combinatorial.
There's so much
for different
build
crafting
crafting.
identities. I'm getting like really deep into the weeds here, but the thing that's like really exciting about this is that like one of the perks the team is playing around with that these new set bonuses could give you could be one that's built all around like Tex Mechanica style play, which is like all about hip firing, right? And all about that yeehaw. And then like the more you build into that, you're going to be buffing your Tex Mechanica weapons. And so that's just like one example. But yeah, it's the whole space is just going to like really expand and just become a lot easier to manage in your head and also build complexity into. And so I'm super stoked for it.
No, you guys obviously have been doing a lot of great stuff. So we've touched on armor here briefly. All that sounds awesome, but can you tell us a little bit more about weapons and kind of how they're going to evolve as well?
Yeah, so we're a little earlier on weapons right now. We wanted to talk about next gen armor because we have a lot of juicy, good plans coming together right now. But for weapons, the thing I can say is that like in the game today, we have higher tiers of weapons to chase, like adepts and raid weapons, right? And so those things with them come with exclusive perks that basically, cut above the noise of other weapons you might be earning in any individual release. And so we know from the tiering perspective of weapons themselves that like, hey, we already have this kind of touchstone for us that we see that works pretty well. And it's like, so it's really like, how can we meet or clear that bar, right? Like how can we create those exclusive chases at the top of that aspirational mountain for players to climb? So,
so actually, additionally too, we've heard some concerns that, obviously we're gonna maybe be over-indexing on just bringing back reprised weapons. And Guardians will just be out there chasing down something and re-earning something that's just sitting in the vault anyway. Can you tell us a little bit more about like kind of the weapon chase and what you guys are planning on doing with each, subsequent release?
Yeah, so just to like make sure, to clear the air here a little bit, right? Like every expansion, every season, every raid, every dungeon, there's gonna be new weapons, right? We're not slowing down there in terms of like making a lot of compelling new weapon content.
Cool. Okay.
But the thing about reprisals and revisions that I think is true for a lot of Destiny players is like you have that favorite gun, right? You have that gun that you loved at one point in time, and over time it's just not as useful in the contemporary tuning, activity, sandbox, whatever, right? Like just
that was breakneck when I first started, and Gnawing Hunger.
Did with the Brave Arsenal and Into the Light, like that's our touchstone for like, hey, how can we go in and update, fan favorite weapons, bring them back, breathe some new life into them, and make them interesting to use again.
And what was that one Void rocket launcher? Bad Omens. That's a
their Recluse or
that's a stasis sword. What was that?
Yet, right?
I don't remember.
Is like, that's their first time experience with it, and they've heard how cool it is.
To all the Guardians who are going to dive into Revenant and get to try Chroma Rush for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
I am trying that gun for the first time. It's so good. I'm glad it's coming back.
It's great.
Okay, that all sounds awesome. So everything that Robbie just spoke to, there's going to be a next-gen article, a next-gen armor article going up on Bungie.net after the stream wraps up. But Robbie, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, so something that I should probably touch on is like we're talking a lot about like all this cool gear and like, but like there's a question here, right? That immediately becomes posed of like why does it matter, right? Like why do I care about it? And so we've talked a little bit, right, about the fact that there's going to be customizable difficulty coming in Destiny with Frontiers, and then also changes to modifiers and things like that with like the Banes that we announced in the recent blog post. And so to making expansions deeply replayable, kind of like I was talking about earlier in our section, and then the customizable difficulty, and then the new modifier systems. Like these are all things that are being built into a structure so that you're going to need to chase that high tier gear. You're going to need to craft that complex set bonus, perfect combination of Tex Mechanica gear in order to take on some of the hardest challenges inside of the game. And so this isn't just about changing gear. This is also figuring out how we can bring new and interesting challenge to Destiny and how we can really like breathe life into the challenge of the game.
Very exciting. Awesome.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, plenty more information on that to arrive on the blog that's going to be arriving on Bungie.net shortly after this. But I don't think I'm going to be able to top what Robbie just said. So we'll go ahead and get ready to go ahead and close out the stream here today by first thanking all of you fine folks at home for joining us today. We love getting a chance to put these streams on and hang out with all of you in the community, and it doesn't mean anything unless you show up. So thank you for taking the time to join us today. As a reminder as well, there's a Twitch shop going on right now. That's a heads up. You can probably see it pinned in chat, but just to remind everyone at home that if you've earned the Twitch drop, I should say, rather, it will be arriving on your Guardian when Revenant launches on October 8th. So if you don't get it today, worry not. That's by design. It'll be arriving on October 8th, and you'll get to put your shiny new emblem on. And of course, a huge thanks to our guests here, Robbie and Allison. Thank you so much for joining us today.
After what? Yeah, okay, so I have that
segment as well. Chris, Clayton, and Jerome as well.
Not that I plan on really using it,
but to join us. And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the amazing folks doing the actual heavy lifting behind the scenes. Peyton, Ashley, and Justin, thank you so much. Of course, Ashley, one of the folks that helped design a lot of the stuff we looked at today. So thank you all for taking the time to joining us from the throne world, as we call it here, back here in the studio. But yeah, a quick recap. We talked today a little bit about what's to arrive with Act 1 of Revenant, arriving just next week, next reset. It'll be arriving on October 8th. Make sure to go ahead and sign up for the Twitch Rivals Dungeon Race. It'll be shipping out on October 11th. And remember, if you're one of those top 3 teams to go ahead and make your way through, then you'll be able to get the cool embroidered hoodie as well. But there's going to be more information about that arriving on our socials. And then I think that's about it. I think I've concluded my my notes here on my laptop. So again, thank you all for taking the time to join us. Make sure and follow us at Destiny the Game across the board on whatever social channel you like. Make sure and check out our Discord as well. We've been making some updates out there in terms of the announcement channels. And keep an eye out for the TWID for all this great information. And lastly, but very not least, make sure and head out to Bungie.net after this stream concludes. Read that Next Gen Armor article. We're giving you guys lots of information. Is it fair? No, but we like you, so we're going to keep doing it anyway. So in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
All right, guys. So that was the live stream for Destiny 2 Revenant Act 1. That'll be dropping in 1 week. Also, the new dungeon for Destiny 2 will be dropping Friday, October 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern. I will be live streaming it. I don't know if that's allowed for you guys or not, but I will be live streaming the dungeon, the contest mode for the dungeon. I'm sorry. Oh, wow, I'm a mess right now. I'll be live streaming the dungeon contest mode Friday, October 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm running it with my brother, Clappinator L, but he'll be at work, so that's why we have to wait until 4 instead of 1 p.m. I will not be streaming that on YouTube. I will only be streaming that on Twitch because I have a video premiering on Thursday on YouTube, and I want the algorithm to have its time to push it and do whatever. So if you're not subscribed to me, if you're not following me on Twitch, go follow me there so you don't miss the live stream. If I don't have a link for it somewhere on my channel anywhere, you can just go to Twitch and search up Sausage and Mahoney. I think it's Sausage and Mahoney 073. It's going to be the same logo. It's that dragon. You can't miss it. Anyway, I'm going to cut the stream here. Thank you guys for stopping